Hey everyone, so today we are going to talk about the final step in the Art of Exploration video course that we've been covering for a few weeks now. If you're just joining us, there are, I believe, 4 other videos on the Art of Exploration on how to ask a question, follow a process of exploration, and to find the answer within yourself. So I hope for those of you who have been following the video series, you are really enjoying practicing the art of exploration in creating a mindful space and also in asking the right question. So today, let's talk about the final step. The final step, step 3, is to surrender. So what does it mean to surrender then? Many people in our society think of surrender as a negative thing. They think of it as giving up their power and submitting to another. However, in spirituality, true surrender is a beautiful thing. True surrender means to surrender to the will of God or universe or universal truth or source, whatever you want to call it. So it means true surrender means accepting, letting go, and letting God. So let's talk about this in a little more detail. Accept means to acknowledge exactly where we're at, okay? It means if you are feeling sad, then you are feeling sad. If someone has rejected you, then someone has rejected you. And just to be in that moment and acknowledge exactly where you're at. Letting go means to stop trying to fight, control, resist, or change other people, circumstances, situations, events, sometimes even ourselves, and how we feel. We create so much suffering for ourselves in trying to find evidence or validation for our belief systems, or in trying to control or influence things because we want a particular outcome. Finally, letting God means to allow God or universe to take control and guide us. It's about that infinite trust and faith that everything happens for a higher purpose, that everything is going to be okay, even if we find ourselves in an unpleasant situation. We simply know and understand, and we're open to learning, understanding, and growth. And indeed, if we do find ourselves in an unpleasant situation, in something that's uncomfortable, we know that we need to ask certain questions, such as, what is the lesson? Or what is the universe trying to show me or teach me? Or what is it inside of me that I need to change or shift for the external to shift? Because the bottom line is we cannot control other people. We cannot control or change circumstances, situations, events. However, we can change ourselves, right? We have the power to change things within ourselves. Remember, whatever it is that you are subconsciously putting out into the universe through your thoughts, your core beliefs, your emotional baggage, is exactly what you're attracting back into your life. That is the law of attraction. When we can truly surrender, we allow the energy to move from this thinking mind down into the feeling heart. And if you're familiar with some of the research that's going on at the HeartMath Institute, then you know that the heart is the electromagnetic field that the heart puts out, that the heart projects, it's 60 times greater than the electromagnetic field of the brain, the physical brain. So some scientists are now starting to call the heart brain, because it's so much more powerful than our physical brain. So think of it this way: when we can surrender, we surrender and we start feeling with our heart instead of trying to think through with our minds. our life becomes full of synchronicities, magic, and miracles. Why? Because we are following the guidance of the universe. We are no longer trying to swim upstream against the flow, against the current. We are starting to swim with the flow. Yes, it makes us incredibly vulnerable. Yes, it constantly puts us in a situation where we have to find deeper and deeper levels of faith and trust within ourselves. That's the challenge sometimes. But it's so worth it. How do I know this? Because I have learned to live my life in surrender and in flow. I'll share a little story with you. For many years, I struggled with what I feel, what I felt, or what I believed my career needed to look like. Why? Simply because I had my own expectations and my own social conditioning. I had created a vision for myself. And it was based on, if you have studied and worked at Oxford, and if you have worked with some of the best psychologists in the country, then there's a certain vision that comes through on how your career needs, what your career goes on to look like. However, moving countries, a crazy visa system, which is what the US has, an education system that I wasn't familiar with, and being betrayed by someone that I trusted and went to work for, all resulted in a very different path for me. And I struggled with that, and I created so much suffering for myself by fighting with it for years, trying helplessly to get back to what I knew to be familiar, what I knew was my vision. It took a lot of inner work and a lot of healing to finally understand why I had created and attracted the circumstances that I had. As I surrendered, the universe took over and began to guide me. It took me on a journey that I could have never envisioned. Synchronicities and miracles, oh yes. It's sort of how I live my life now. And these synchronicities and miracles have created what I call energy-based psychotherapy and the Fearlessly Authentic Purification Program. People tell me that they have found this to be the easiest and fastest way to clear their baggage and change their lives. I love my work and the shifts that I create in people. I live an amazing life. And I could have never envisioned this because I had a limited vision of what my life needed to look like. And it was only when I surrendered, truly surrendered, and let the universe guide me, that I went on to create something very different, something that I could not have envisioned myself. I recently asked myself if I would go back to the plan that I tried so hard for so many years to fight for. And the answer was surprisingly a very clear no. So anyway, if through this Art of Exploration video series you have found it really difficult to follow some of the things that we've shared, like surrender and creating a mindful space, or how to ask the right question, know that there are some blocks, some emotional, some mental, some energetic blocks there. And so in a few days, I will post the final video where I will share with you what those blocks could be and how to deal with them. In the meantime, enjoy finding a place where you can surrender and start creating magic and miracles in your life. And I know this is possible. Thank you.